Glass is in session. Let's get rolling on a Tuesday. We go to the Glasser guest line, check in with Pat Perry of the Tour Junkies. Make sure you guys are following the Tour Junkies on X at Tour_Junkies. You can follow Pat on X at Tour Junkies Pat. And make sure you check out the Tour Junkies Golf Podcast as well. Pat, best week of the year in golf, my friend. Masters starts on Thursday. Excited to break it down with you. Let's start with the reigning champion and two-time Masters champion, Scotty Scheffler, the favorite once again this year at plus 450. We know Scotty is still trying to work his way back a little bit from the wrist injury. He hasn't quite been himself, but he's always great at Augusta, and he's won here twice. Have you bet Scotty in any capacity this week, whether it be outright, top 10, head-to-head matchups, anything with Scotty for you?
You know, PJ, right now, I actually don't have any Scotty. I think, when you look at it, obviously he's the favorite here. His play right now concerns me, though, a little bit. If you look at the stats, and we use a site called Bet the Number, if you look at that site, his long irons do not look good at all right now. If you look at the 175 to 225 yard bucket, that's really in our model of almost every player we're looking at. And he is 65th in the field in that model when it comes to his long irons. I worry about that just a little bit with Scotty Scheffler. So I'm concerned. I don't think I'm going to bet him right now. Now, I may look at some matchups when they come out later today. We just got the pairings that came out from the Masters about an hour ago. So I may look at a few matchups when it comes to Scotty. But as far as outrights, top tens, anything like that, I think I'm going to stay away. And I'm going to head to another guy who I think you'll probably ask me about in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who that is. Maybe Rory is the guy that you're thinking about. I think he's so fascinating this week, Pat. I think we come into the Masters every year, and people are already predetermined they're not going to bet Rory. We know his game is more than good enough, but it's just the mental aspect of it for him at this point in his career. But with how good he's playing, do you think that is this the year? Is this the year that Rory could get it done? Have you done anything with him?
Absolutely. I think this is the year. And look, anybody that listens to our show knows that I'm just a Rory guy. I am. But I do think this year there's a little bit something extra, a little bit something special about him. He's already won twice. He won a huge tournament at the Players' Championship just a few weeks ago. He feels relaxed. I think this is Rory's year. I think this is going to happen. I like the number on him, actually. I thought it was going to be a little bit shorter. So I'm okay at playing him in at plus 650 up there as one of the favorites. I'm a big fan. Maybe you can find a parlay with him and another player in the top 10. But I think Rory at plus 650, he's already on the card for me. And that's not like me. I usually like to go a little bit longer than that. But it is hard to bet against a guy like Rory this week. And I think it's going to happen.
What a story that would be if he completes the Grand Slam, finally gets it done at Augusta. Pat, what about the live golfers this week? DeChambeau and Rahm right now, the favorites amongst the live guys. You certainly have Neiman, who could be in contention. Brooks Koepka, always a guy to monitor at majors. Who are some of the live guys you like this week?
I think right at the top two again with Jon Rahm. He's at 14-1. You look at Jon Rahm and his season this year, and we just can't forget about these live guys. So I'm glad you're asking about it because Rahm has finished top 10 in every single event he's played in this year. He's had his press conference earlier today. He talked about his home life. We call it strokes gained home life. He says that's good. He's got 3 kids now. He feels good. I think this is a great week for Jon Rahm. He won a couple years ago. Here's a little fact that I thought was interesting. He says as in the 9 times that he's played here, okay, he's gone early and played around early 7 of those 9 times. Well, the one other time he didn't, besides this year, was actually when he won a couple years ago. He did not have a round a few weeks ago. He didn't have a practice round where he was preparing. So I like that. A little bit of a trend there. The last time he didn't do that, he won. So I think Jon Rahm is the guy that I'm going to go on as far as a live guy. But don't sleep on Sergio Garcia, another Spaniard who is playing fantastic. Also, he's won this year. He has a couple other top 10s. I think you need to think about him a little bit as a long shot play.
I like it. All right, Sergio, obviously a past winner here at the Masters. We're talking with Pat Perry of the Tour Junkies here on Send It In. Pat, let's talk about some tournament specials. Anything that you like, whether it's no hole-in-one or yes hole-in-one. Is it the tournament to go to a playoff? Is it winning score over under 276.5? Any specials that you like this week?
Well, the one that you mentioned that I love is actually the playoff one. I think that at plus 350, there's some value there. Sometimes we're just due for something, right? The stock market's going crazy right now. We're probably due for a correction, like they say. Well, I think we're due for a playoff at plus 350. The last time we saw one, speaking of Sergio Garcia, it was him and Justin Rose. Garcia prevailed. So I think, and that was 2017. So we've been at several years since a playoff. I think plus 350 is a good number there. Another one, going back to the live guys, I do think there's a really good shot that we get a live winner. You mentioned Bryson earlier. At plus 350 to get a live winner. I feel like there might be a little bit of value there. You got Brooks Koepka. We know he's a big game hunter when it comes to majors. You got Bryson up there. You got Jon Rahm. You got a lot of these guys that are playing well and I think have a really good chance to win. So that's another one that I might look at too is that plus number for a live guy to win the Masters this week.
I like it. We know you and Dave on the Tour Junkies, you guys love your long shots. And you talked about Sergio Garcia. Any other long shots that you would look at this week to maybe make the cut at a nice plus money price?
Well, I think, and here's the thing too, I like those make the cut numbers because the Masters is just one of those tournaments where there's amateurs, there's the old guys, there's just a lot of guys that actually just cannot win this golf tournament. So we tend to focus on the outrights. But looking at these guys just to make the cut, I think there's some good value there. And there's two right there at, about 1 minus 35. You've got both twin brothers, Nikolai Højgaard and Rasmus Højgaard. Okay, so Nikolai's probably he's a little bit better, but at minus 135, I like that to make the cut. And then his brother Rasmus is minus 125. Both of these guys are excellent European Tour players. They have a lot of experience on the PGA Tour. I think Nikolai finished in the top 20 last year. He was a great play just as a top 20 bet, let alone just to make the cut. So I think Nikolai is one of them that I would look at, and then Rasmus just hits it a mile off the tee. They're going to need a lot of length with this colder weather, and I think it's going to play a lot longer. So I like both of those twin brothers actually to make the cut this week, and that's a pretty big long shot.
Yeah, that is. I like those looking at the Højgaard brothers. How about any golfers that you would look to fade this week in matchups? Obviously, on these shows, we love talking about golfers that you love. But anybody you're targeting that you think is worth a fade this week, especially when it comes to matchups?
I think there is, I think one guy that a lot of people talk about is Joaquin Niemann. A lot of people like him going in this week. I think I'm going to fade him a little bit. I know he has been playing well also. I don't like his ball flight. When I'm looking at who is going to be, what is the best type of player out here? You definitely want a ball striker, which is what Joaquin Niemann is, but he doesn't really have a really high ball flight. He hits it relatively low. You got to have that high apex height going into these tough greens. So I think Joaquin Niemann might struggle a little bit, and we've seen that over the years with him. So I do worry about him as well. Another one, Viktor Hovland. Viktor Hovland's a guy that I do like I like the odds when he was a lot longer, but now that he's shorter coming off of that win at the Valspar just a couple weeks ago, I wonder a little bit about that with a short game. So I think if you were able somehow to get him at the long odds that he was at 2 months ago to outright win, maybe I could see that. But I wonder if the numbers are just going to be a little too off on Victor based off that win just a couple weeks ago. And we know he has trouble around the greens. And scrambling is big out here when it comes to Augusta National.
No question. Victor 40-1 right now at BetMGM to win the Masters. All right, Pat, give us your card. You told us you really liked Rory. You gave us some long shots that you like as well. Who are some other guys that you like, whether it to be to win, maybe some top 10s, top 20s that you really like as well?
Well, as far as my cards concerned, I'll give you 5 guys. I already mentioned Rory. He's one of them. Jon Rahm is another one at 14-1. I love Xander this week at 22-1. I think he's also a little bit sneaky that not a lot of people are talking about. He had the injury earlier this year, but a great last round that he had at the Valspar. I think that kind of triggered something in him. So I think Xander's going to have a really good week. Obviously has a chance to win. He won 2 majors last year. I like Patrick Cantlay. He's at 33-1. Another guy kind of coming in under the radar, but still is playing some excellent golf right now. And then the final one, Corey Connors. He's at 50-1. I think Corey Connors, if you think of a guy, can he win this golf tournament? Yes, he can. He's in excellent form. I mean, I think he's got like 3 straight top 10s and then maybe 3 straight top 5s. Corey Connors has been playing really good golf, and he's also, like I said, an excellent ball striker. So on the card, I think those are really my 5 favorites. If you're looking at, kind of that top 10 and that top 20 market, I would still look at guys like Colin Morikawa for a top 10. I love that for sure. I like Justin Thomas as a top 10. Those are really my two favorite just top 10 plays that I think we're going to see this week.
Absolutely love it. Awesome stuff. Pat Perry of the Tour Junkies. Make sure you guys are following at Tour Junkies on X, at Tour Junkies Pat, and make sure you check out the Tour Junkies Golf Podcast as well. Pat, always great having you on the show, man. Enjoy the golf this weekend. Have a great time at Augusta, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you. Good luck.
Absolutely. Yep, to you as well.